A dissection is imperative.
Oh, yes, Steve, that's a valid complaint. Oh, yes, Steve, that is my favorite 80s movie. Oh, sure, Steve. Yes, you can sing from the Scarlet Pimpernel soundtrack. Usually some variation of those, I can say.
Scarlet Pimpernel. Speaking of the Scarlet Pimpernel, it's a Songtopsy.
No, Steve, but the important thing is you got to actually say that sentence.
Yeah,
You're doing the easy part, but the hard part. Although, I say it's the hard part. I realized I was the one who kind of inadvertently set that precedent that we have to have a convoluted preamble and then find a way to seamlessly tie that into the episode. But we don't have to, Steve, especially since this is your episode. I want.
That's right, Nick. I'm laying down the law for this episode. I am the law. I am the law for this episode, Nick. And something about law, etc., etc. Welcome to the Songtopsy Report, where we dissect bad, bizarre. Yeah, that's how I'm doing it. This is how it is.
Steve, you stuck that landing like you flew it into the Hudson.
Speaking of law, welcome to the Songtopsy Report, where we dissect bad, bizarre, or otherwise noteworthy music and figure out how it died. I am your justicar, your justifier, your only source of justice in this world, Steve Trollinger.
I am your just visiting Nick Brigadier.
And I am your previous defendant, Mike Russell.
Previous defendant?
I go, what? I mean, yeah, the city of Albany versus Mike Russell, isn't that a thing? Like, I don't know if they called it.
Actually, I think as a matter of record, that was a thing.
Yeah. Today we're going to be. It's not quite a day at the movies because we're not at the movies. We're actually in front of the TV. It's the day in front of the TV, aka every day for the last year and a half.
Oh, so we got the popcorn going. We're snuggling up close together on the couch here, Steve, and we're about to, see how far 20 minutes goes.
We're about to Netflix and chill, but without the chill part, or Netflix. So really, it's nothing like either of those things. But what
you got that, listeners?
Yeah, got it. What we're going to talk about today is a TV show, which is what I'm getting at. It only took me 3 minutes.
Now there's only 17 minutes left in the show.
Yeah. For those who are frequent viewers of one of my favorite shows, Last Week Tonight with John Oliver, today's topic might be a little bit familiar to you. I was hoping to have this be a little bit more in zeitgeist, but ironically, we had to skip a week due to police interference.
My bad, guys. My bad. Listen, I was very stressed after my encounter with the police, and I needed a day to drink away the memory of it.
Well, Mike, maybe if you stopped being a hitman for hire, the cops would leave you alone more often.
With these current rates, though, Nick, I mean, the crypto's going through the roof, and getting paid on Bitcoin on the dark web is the way to make some coin.
No, but for real, Mike jumped a turnstile the one time there were actually cops there. And,
I tried to pay. With two different cards and 10 different swipes, okay? And then 3 people jumping next to me. What do you say? I had a bowling ball, a duffel bag, a backpack, and I had been on the road all day. I was tired. 2 police officers.
But Mike did not go to prison this time, so we are all thankful for that, of course. In fact, his emotional state was such that one of the policemen almost cried themselves, worried about their personal safety, I guess.
I was screaming at them about the 2 cards not working on the swipe machine.
You are very tall.
And I was about 6 inches taller than one of the police officers. Although, hey, I'm sure he could have whooped my ass. Look, these guys are trained.
But Mike, you know what? I'm just going to say it up front. I think it was their attitudes towards an otherwise ideal law-abiding citizen. I think that's the reason why the show that we're going to be talking about only lasted, like 12 episodes?
11 episodes.
Yeah.
You gave it too much credit.
They didn't even get the nice dozen there, no?
Yeah, so for people who are unfamiliar with television as a whole, one of TV's favorite go-to topics are cops. Anything having to do with cops. Police procedurals, they're a dime a dozen. There's Law and Order, there's Hill Street Blues, NYPD Blue, Blue Bloods, bloobity blue, 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 blue.
Love that one.
There's a little bit of blue and everything. And it's one of TV's favorite go-to topics, to the point where it's a little hard to get anything original out of the concept. But in the early 90s, one producer creator with a can-do attitude decided that he had something new and interesting to say about the police procedural. And the only thing he could think to add was the one thing that's always been missing from our gritty cop dramas, which is musical numbers.
Hit it.
Get out of here.
He's guilty, Judge, he's guilty. You could see it in his eye. He did the crime and now he's gotta pay. He's guilty, Judge, he's guilty. We have seen through all his lies. The time has come to put this boy away.
Whoa! What? Wow!
So we are
only 11 episodes.
Only 11 episodes of a show I don't think I've actually said the name of yet. Cop Rock.
Cop. Okay, so
Cop.
Okay, so no, sorry. Honestly, the Zoom got a little staticky there. I say this isn't Motley Crue.
No, Cop Rock, which, as I mentioned above, if anyone had seen a recent episode of John Oliver's show, he used to make a point about, in his case, the propensity of police SWAT teams to essentially raid everybody's house with little or no provocation, which is a fun topic, super fun, super interesting to talk about in a funny way. Certainly nothing that destroys lives or anything.
Yo, you ever see those gamers online where they get pissed when they order SWAT teams?
Yeah, swatting.
Swatting. That was what the bit was about. It was about swatting.
Oh yeah.
But the problem that John Oliver brought up in his episode was that there's not enough musicality to being swatted, evidently. And I watched that episode, which inspired me to do my own research, which they did enough for about 3 minutes worth. I did a copious amount of research on this television program, way more than they did, and we're going to talk about it here today. The police procedural musical drama, co-created by Stephen Bochco and William Finkelstein. And Stephen Bochco, I should mention, was a developer of shows like Hill Street Blues, LA Law, NYPD Blue, and Doogie Howser, MD. He was the creator of all those shows.
Yo, so this guy's got real talent here.
Yeah.
He knows what people are going to put their eyeballs on.
He began his career as a story editor in the 70s on shows like Columbo and Ironside before creating his breakout show Hill Street Blues in 1981. In 86, he moved to 20th Century Fox and co-created the show LA Law, which was also a big success. And that show's success would lead him to signing a 10-series contract with ABC. ABC gave him the opportunity to do 10 different television series.
Wow.
That's how successful his first 3 ventures were. It was like, this guy can do no wrong. He's got the Midas touch. And he almost convinced them that was the case, because the next show he came up with was Doogie Howser, MD, another wildly successful hit.
Just killing it.
And that's where the string of successes ended, with the creation of Cop Rock. At the time, there was a rising popularity in dramedy shows, TV shows that seamlessly combined elements of both comedy and drama. Now, as any good dramaturg might tell you, this is a difficult balance to pull off in and of itself. But Cop Rock added the additional untenable layer of Broadway-style song and dance numbers.
That is 100% the right adjective, Steve. It's untenable. You cannot have a dramedy and then make it a musical and have the subject matter be about cops. Although I really hope, if there's any show that's due for a revival in today's climate, I really think that Cop Rock is the one. Although
I'll get to it a little bit later, but there's a whole host of people who look back on this show now and go, well, the problem was it was too ahead of its time. It was like 30 years too early. And
although nowadays nowadays it would have to be called Cop Trap, probably, which makes it sound like probably a different show. It's about people surprising cops.
and getting shot.
Yes. No trap music. No. Okay.
So the show was inflicted with wildly different and conflicting tones, as one would expect. It focuses on the LAPD, always a great place to start. And I should mention this show came out in 1990, a full year before the Rodney King riots.
Well, so this was before the riots.
This was before the riots, yeah.
Oh my God. You know, that's maybe the only good thing that happened about this show. Could you imagine if they had already filmed all these episodes and then there was the Rodney King video and then they still had to release Cop Rock after?
There was actually, I'm not going to play it today, but there was the very first musical number you see is actually the very first event that happens in the show. The show opens with the LAPD coming down on a crack house because, again, this was the 90s, so everything was a crack house. That was the only drug that people were making. And so they were busting into this crack house, and this crack house was populated almost entirely by African-American actors. So there was that. And as the police were herding the predominantly African-American crack house characters out of the house, the drug dealers broke into song about how the cops were never going to get anything to stick and they were going to be back on the streets in 24 hours. So it was a song and dance number, but about like you're supposed to be feeling bad for the cops because, oh, shucks, we're never going to get these drug dealers in prison for longer than 24 hours. And they know it. And they're singing a funky rap song about it. And then one of the cops turns around and shoots one of the drug dealers in the back at point blank range. That's the tonality.
Oh my God.
That's the first 5 minutes of the first episode of the show.
Blasts him in the back and then sings a sad song about being the victim. Is that what you're telling me, Steve?
Strike that, reverse it. The drug dealers were singing a boastful song about how they'll never get to go to prison, and then the like token crooked cop is the one who ended up shooting a suspect in the back as he walked away. And I'll get into the characters as we listen to this a little bit more. But the show focuses on the LAPD, like I said, features an ensemble cast who perform dramatic police procedural scenes that then transition to choreographed musical numbers. The music supervisor on the series was Mike Post, who had previously been responsible for a number of TV theme songs, including The A-Team, The Greatest American Hero, Blossom, Magnum P.I., News Radio, and my personal favorite, the theme to Quantum Leap. He is also responsible for creating both the Law and Order theme and its distinguishable dun-dun effect, which is copyrighted to him. So that's why I couldn't play it at the top of the episode.
You think he's making a fortune off that, or do you think he kind of got screwed?
I'm pretty sure he gets some nice residuals from the sheer quantity, at least.
Because everybody knows what that means. Like they hear it and they just go, oh, they start playing the song from Law and Order in their head.
Could you imagine after years of doing this podcast and playing different artists' music, if that was the thing we ended up getting sued for?
Yeah.
Dun dun
dun dun. Damn it. Nick, you'll like this. Another incongruous element of the series were the punny episode titles. Titles like
such as
titles like episode 4's A 3-Corpse Meal. Episode 5's The Cocaine Mutiny. Episode 7's Copophiliac. And episode 10's No Noose is Good Noose.
I might have to take it all back, Steve. I think this needed like another season.
Really needed to flesh this out a little bit better.
No Noose is good. Jesus.
But
I mean, it's punny and it's true. You know, it really makes you think.
And that's funny because the pun is related to that's like towards the end of the series, and that's like the crooked cop who shoots that suspect in the back in episode 1 has a whole season-long theme where like they deal with police brutality against African-American people, set to music, of course. And he goes on trial and he's maybe going to get the death penalty, but maybe not. And that's why it's called No News is Good News, because he ends up getting off scot-free.
What's the basic how's they make the audience want to feel about that? Are we feeling for this crooked cop? Are we?
Wait, Steve. In this instance, is the audience supposed to be like, hang in there?
Nick, I think I might have to tell you. I don't know if you can keep that one.
But
Jesus Christ!
Just a little gallows humor for you.
Shut up, Nick. That's too literal to be a pun. Literally called gallows humor. So the little bit I played up top, is a song called, and I should mention, by the way, that the
show won an Emmy. No, what?
Actually, it kind of did. So aside from the theme song, which we'll discuss in a second, I could not find verification as to the song titles of any of the show's songs because they didn't actually get that far to like.
There's no official soundtrack that's got like
there's
the titles.
No official soundtrack and there's no official song titles. So all of this is just like all this is conjecture. So like the bit I played at the top was the song "He's Guilty." Takes place in a courtroom scene. You've got everyone. You've got the foreman comes in and the judge asks him to read, what the jury has come to. Very dramatic scene, and that's when you get this sort of jaunty gospel-esque musical number. And if you think it sounds familiar, it's because every song from the first episode was musically crafted by one Randy Newman.
Wow!
If you're wondering why it sounds like this.
I can see Newman on the piano right now.
I can't any more Randy Newman-esque any sort of piano anything. Like you play a piano like that and you transform into Randy Newman. Doesn't matter who you are. It's like you physically
criminals got no reason to live.
But in addition to the first 5 songs from the first episode, he also composed and performs the title track for the show called Under the Gun.
Days of sunshine, tears and rain, precious memories of years go by. Hours of darkness, fear and pain, all the time that we had.
Oh, all right. Can we get it? He said a lot of stuff, but does that have anything to do with being a cop?
It absolutely does not, Mike. He said, days of sunshine, tears of rain, precious memories of years gone by, eyes of darkness, feeling pain all the time that we had. This is
about a love song. I can imagine this right now where I'm just laying in bed, like that would come on, you're just thinking of, ooh, the one that left you, like, and it's called Under the Gun.
It's called Under the Gun.
Does a gun come involved, like in the chorus?
The gun is a metaphor. The gun is a metaphor for the friends you made along the way, Mike.
The gun, dude. If this person sounds real sad about something, they're about to blow their brains out, man. I don't know. Like, what?
I don't know. I think Randy sounds happy. What?
Well, he always sounds happy. He's Randy Newman. I don't know. You judge for me. You judge for me.
Okay, do it has to be done living under the gun. That could either apply.
Doing what has to be done.
Yes, doing actively. Yes, present tense.
Yeah.
That I feel like could apply to either, I guess, the cops if they ever get accused of excessive force, or I suppose it could apply to the criminals as their defense while they are on trial in this cop-themed musical. I think the song's great. You know, I could see this making its way onto like, you know, the kind of playlist you put on when you have your significant other over and the lights are low. Basically, I'm saying this is baby making music.
So all that's left is a photograph. What does he say after that? Where's the lyrics?
He says, all that's left is a photograph, someone's golden moment in the sun, doing what had to be done, living under the gun.
Wait, sorry. Sorry, Steve, I missed that. Could you say those lyrics exactly the same way one more time?
Yeah. When all that's left is a photograph, someone's golden moment in the sun, doing what had to be done, living under the gun.
Yes, thank you very much.
What?
By the way, Mike, there are no lyrics. There are no lyrics. This is me figuring out what the lyrics were, like line by line.
Oh, Steve. Oh, I'm proud of you. Because being able to understand Randy Newman all the time is not.
Yo, Randy Newman is my second language.
I am the Randy Whisperer.
So, what do you think that means? What's this photograph in these golden moments? And then all of a sudden, he's talking about living under the gun. Like, the idea is under the gun where, like, what were you saying, Nick? It's
I think the song is actually about East Berlin, when you think about it, because I think the photograph could be a memory of when you saw your family before the Berlin Wall was built, and then under communist regime, you were probably living under the gun. So I think that Randy Newman was channeling that when he wrote the theme for Cop Rock. I mean, look, if this is all we have to go on, that's what the lyrics are screaming to me.
I mean, they're certainly screaming.
Living into the gun.
I've never heard somebody scream so. Like, I've never heard somebody scream, but also not be perfectly clear. Like, if you're screaming, you're usually pretty. You have a lot of clarity.
What are you talking about?
Trying to get something across.
I would argue screaming is the most incoherent way of communicating.
Well,
I don't know, Nick.
If you're yelling help, you're not yelling help.
Well, if you're Randy Newman, you are.
Now, guys,
that's how he says it.
They tell you not to yell help anymore. You're supposed to yell fire because nobody helps anyone yelling help. Have you noticed this?
Mike, I'd help you if you yelled help.
Well, Nick, you wouldn't be a little concerned about what I needed help with?
Okay, Mike, you specifically, yes. Because if, Mike, you needed help, I knew something. Mike, usually you can handle most situations yourself. So if you specifically are screaming help, Mike, I hate to say it, and I hate to admit it on the podcast, I would probably run in the opposite direction.
Nick, that's why I yell fire. So you gotta come help
I'll
me.
run to you with water, at least.
Yes.
I'm not going to run towards the person yelling fire. They're probably where the fire is. Nobody's standing like 3 blocks away, pointing and shouting fire.
Listeners, what would you yell to get someone's attention? Contact us at the songtopsyreport@gmail.com.
Oh, Nick, you stole it from me. That's gonna be a good one.
Guys, I'm gonna be a bit of a warden here when it comes to the chatter because we got a lot to get through. So
that's true. God, I feel like I'm living under the gun with you as the.
I'm laying down the law. We're gonna move on to because it's a little bit left to go in the theme.
Okay, so Steve, are all of these various actors we're seeing smiling in this recording studio that we're seeing Randy Newman performing in? Are these the actors in Cop Rock? I'm assuming
they sure are, Nick. So
just kind of smiling and shimming along.
Yeah, this was also the video we're watching is also the actual opening credits. Like this was what you would see at the beginning of every episode. And for those who aren't watching along, it is Randy Newman in a studio playing the theme song to Cop Rock while the various actors who star in Cop Rock slowly file into the studio to like rock out with them and hear him jam.
What a great concept.
It definitely doesn't smack of, oh crap, I didn't think this through.
Yeah.
That's the subtitle for Cop Rock. so awkward to watch. It has the same energy of like an award ceremony in COVID times where they just kind of cut to someone's Zoom camera when they're not really doing anything and they don't know what to be looking at. We're just cutting to all these various actors while Randy Newman sings lyrics that don't have anything to do with the theme. And it seems like they're like, I don't know, out of character. Like everyone's just like, I'm happy to be here.
They are out of character.
Yeah, and they're just like mouthing along stuff, but not the lyrics. So it's like they're having a conversation while Randy Newman is talking. It's very, very early 90s.
I swear one of those guys just finished eating off the crafty. You know, he's like just in the middle, lounging back in this chair, talking to the guy. Oh yeah, man.
He didn't even know they were filming the intro.
They brought the good cream cheese today, man. That was.
But that was the intro. We haven't even gotten to the cop singing yet. So we're gonna go.
Wait, Randy Newman doesn't play a cop in this show? I'm out.
He does not show up as a cop. Now you under arrest. You have the right to remain. You have the right to remain silent. Where'd that electronic piano come from?
You got a friend in prison.
Anything you say and do can be used against you. So episode 2, we are, and I'm not going to get into, look, I didn't want to watch the fucking show. I'm sorry. I did the best.
You didn't?
I did the best I didn't want to spend money to get the fucking 11 episode DVD delivered to my house in 2 days so that I could watch the whole fucking show and comment on every character and every arc. We don't have time for it, and I don't care.
And literally no one else listening has actually seen this show, so.
Exactly. In this scene, episode 2, we have we're having a classic TV cop lineup where you've got the usual suspects lined up in front of the victim. In this case, a housekeeper who was robbed at gunpoint, and the cops are putting the usual suspects in line. And as you'll notice, the usual suspects all have a very specific trait in common.
Oh.
Yeah, ¿qué estás haciendo? Mira, estos gringos brutos no saben nada.
Hey, what's your problem, man? Cause me and his Ruben got better things to do than what you cops say we've been doing.
All right.
I get it, Steve. The commentators, they're all amazing dancers.
Oh yeah, that's it.
A bunch of Rico Suaves. Oh, sorry. Okay.
Wow. So here's the thing about this
They're
show.
very suave. Can we not say it? Look at their things. These guys are.
You could have said that without being very specific about the type of suave and the language the suave is steeped in. Here's the thing about this show. We brought it up a little bit before. The whole, like, this came out a year before the Rodney King riots. We are still, to this day, dealing with the same sort of police profiling, sort of, certain racial profiling in how cops treat certain people. And it's just not fun and musical anymore. But was it fun and musical back then? It shouldn't have been. But we are having to look back at this with our 2021 lenses on, and have to remember that this was, even for the early 90s before the riots in LA, still tonally deaf.
Well, yeah,
I gotta ask a question. Nick, you might have to take this off. This is an innocent question, I think. Let's say somebody goes, oh man, there's been the Latin Kings came in and robs my store. What do you do? Like, what do you do? Who do you bring in for the lineup? Like, who's part of the Latin Kings? I guess they don't all have to be Latin. I suppose, like, I don't know.
I don't know that this is a part we can keep in the show.
That's why I said we might have to take it out. I'm just like, if someone is a witness to a crime and they describe the person who committed the crime, then don't you have to find this like
people who physically resemble that?
Like yeah.
I'm just saying that they no longer
Not
have
calling
the
these
benefit
guys.
of doubt.
You're just saying what?
They no longer have the benefit of that doubt. You're giving in that scenario, while it makes logical sense when you say it like that, they don't have the benefit of that doubt anymore because they take advantage of it too much. Like here's the thing. Let's go back to the show.
Okay,
So,
we can ignore Mike. But you're saying.
I think valid question.
This show would often tackle the sort of racial profiling, racial policing issues that plague us still today, along with other difficult to talk about subjects. And at the same time, though, it was pretty forward thinking, though it did do that forward thinking while still trafficking in the same sort of stereotyping prevalent in TV at that time. And the problem with both of these is that they would try to address it all in song, which, as we see here, just kind of like puts a like every person in this episode that is Hispanic is either a criminal gangbanger or a housekeeper. I should say that right up front. Every single one in the show.
What if one of them was a criminal housekeeper?
There is one character who's a cop whose last name is Campos, but he is super white. So I don't know how that works.
If he's super white, it's actually pronounced compost.
Yes. But basically, you got this song. The YouTube video says "Lament of the Lineup Guys,"
which is a great name. I really wish that was
a different video. I saw a different person who put this video up called it. What did he call it here? We're the local color. Because, as the lyrics will suggest, well, you'll see.
It's the system that don't make it. You name some names, you stick the blame, but we ain't gonna take it. I was down with S.A. we was chilling to Los Lobos. We was minding our business, kicking back a few cervezas.
I was with my Carmelita, she can tell you es verdad. Just because you got the government, that don't mean you cops are bad. We're the local color with the copper tone skin. They treat us like we're cute.
This is the weirdest Duolingo class that I've ever seen on my phone.
We're the local color with the copper tone skin.
Wow, that's now. Steve, did you finish this episode? Which one of those guys did it?
I can just imagine. Sorry, Steve. I can just imagine you, because the song's a little bit of an earworm. I'm just imagining you on the subway as you've been researching for this episode, on the train, just kind of mouthing along and rocking out to this.
The song we do at the end of the episode is the song that is the earworm song that has been stuck in my head for 3 weeks now.
Oh, no.
And it is the worst one to get stuck in your head.
Oh, I can't wait to hear that one.
So now that we've addressed, and we got to get to that. So now that we've addressed racial profiling in song,
which I never thought would be a sentence we'd be saying on the podcast.
Let's
not since Accidental Racist, at least.
Oh, by the way, I should mention, according to an interview in the DVD features, the lead actress Ann Bobby, who played Officer Quinn, said the live vocals on the set were later overdubbed with more stereotypical, quote, Latino accented voices.
So were they like, we're the local color with the copper tone skin?
Yeah, I would prefer to think that they just refused to say the shit that these white people wrote for them, where they're like, okay, every fifth word can't be Spanish. That's not how we speak.
Could you imagine?
Come on, they want a little Spanglish going on here, Steve. Is that what they're looking for?
But seriously, could you imagine you're a local actor in LA, you've been honing your craft, you maybe, have been doing some musicals, and you get cast in a show where you're on a police line rapping about being the local color. Like, that would probably be you're probably wondering how I got here moment in your own biography.
Except they would say, like, you're probably wondering how I got a key.
Yeah.
If it was written by the people who wrote this episode.
Yes.
Now, question, guys, and again, community is can be important. Community is important, right? So if you like New York City, you know, we have there's a lot of different areas. You got Little Italy, you got Chinatown, you got
and that's it.
no, like
I ran out.
Good Koreatown, like, but a lot of immigrants that come in, they all move into kind of the similar areas so they can be around people that they can, you know, that have come to this country and have you know, learn how things work, and they can get up on their feet and become part of the community, and then branch out from there. I think that's very common, right?
I think less so now as opposed to like the 20th century, but yeah, I would say there's still a little bit of that.
Right. So is it I'm sorry, guys. I'm like, I want to make sure I phrase this exactly how because the way I'm thinking, it's not bad. It's just, these guys. Correct me. These guys in this dance up here, these the guys that were lamented, who were picked out, they're upset. They're upset. They're like, you picked us up because of the color of our skin and because we're Spanish, and this is bullshit. Like, I didn't do anything wrong, and here's my alibi. And so, but I'd say, what are the local color of the copper tone skin? Well, if they were, and because of their copper tone skin, they feel like they're being, you know,
profiled.
Thank you. That's exactly profiled. Well, that would be that's what's happening. So. But you're right. You're right. Probably a bunch of white dudes wrote this. I'm not gonna say that. I'm just.
Mike, essentially, is that Steve's point in that it could, in theory, be ahead of its time in some ways, but doing that by being anchored in the stereotypes that were still prevalent at the time.
So here's my question then, and maybe you guys don't know. How would you do this in a way that wasn't offensive?
It's not possible. You can't make a musical about cops and have it be funny and touching in equal parts. You just wouldn't do this idea. There's not a good way to do this.
Not today, at least.
Well, I think now you could call me salty, and it's not to be salty, but I think you could. It would just have to be and then people would be upset because it wouldn't be accurate. But it would have to
cops don't sing.
It would have to take place in like Sweden, right?
Yes.
Where everybody's a bunch of white people, white on white. No one gives a shit about that. Nobody gives a shit.
You have to remove America.
America, yeah. There's, you know, it's the ups and downs of being a melting pot. It's the unfortunate. There's a lot of different cultures. There's a lot of things trying to blend together, and it's and when that's happening, and when you had, and
sometimes the ladle targets other ingredients more than certain other ingredients.
Yeah. We gotta go out.
Or is it injustice? Ladle of Injustice, name for a band, I call it.
Damn.
I want to see the Swedish cop rock now, though. I think we could have a lot of fun with that.
Oh, hell yeah, because it would be death metal.
Yes.
Well, while Nick secretly writes that in his head instead of paying attention for the rest of the episode, we're gonna move on to another thorny issue: prostitution.
More like a horny issue.
No, come on now. I set him up for that. I deserve some credit for that.
Okay,
yes,
Steve, nice lob. That was
like T-ball. It wasn't even a lob.
It's just all right, Nick. Hit the freaking ball. Let's go.
But yeah, very serious issue.
serious issue, prostitution, very contentious issue. A lot of, is it right? Is it wrong? Is it a moral thing? Is it a business thing? Should we let this
These
business...
male gigolos are not getting the respect they deserve out there. I feel like they're getting pinpointed.
This is also gonna dip a bit into kink shaming, guys.
Oh no. We've said many times, in all honesty, on the Songtopsy report that we do not kink shame.
Yes,
so we're gonna have to stick to our principles here.
Freak flags flying, kink. Go for it. As long as everyone's having a good time. It's supposed to be fun, right?
Would it be better to kink shame in song?
I'm no criminal, and I'm no saint. Sometimes I even park in the yellow paint. But all I wanted from those nice young girls was some tenderness, some tenderness. I pay my taxes, I go to church, and
so this guy, he's getting into trouble for.
Yeah,
I'm assuming, based on the fact, Steve, you said this involves kink shaming. I'm assuming tenderness was the name of a strap-on.
You'll see. There's a bridge. There's a bridge where this song becomes a different song.
Oh, is he the bridge? Never mind. Go ahead.
Mike knows all about bridging.
Peg me interested.
Okay. So a little bit of background. One of the main sort of plot lines of the show is a love triangle of sorts between two officers who are partners. They fall in love. The woman in question is married to a different police officer who's older, and she's sort of out of his league. I don't know how it happened, but so like her and officers Quinn and Campo, I mentioned before. So Quinn is the woman, Campo the guy. So they get separated due to this sort of tension between them because they fell in love. And so Campo gets a series of new partners. And in episode 10, he gets a new female partner, very attractive female partner who goes undercover in a prostitution sting and nabs this gentleman who is currently cuffed to the bench in the station house, lamenting about
not the thing he wanted to be cuffed to.
No,
he was a little more comfortable, maybe at king size.
He wants to know why he's being picked on and not in the way he likes. He wants to know why it's
because he's in a nice suit. He looks, I don't know, I was gonna say Wall Street-ish, but I guess this was LA. But he seems pretty sad.
He just needs that the warmth of human comfort, and this is how he gets it. And I don't know why they're coming down on him, and he wants to know why they're coming down on him. He pays his taxes.
God, this is not what I meant when I said come down on me.
Exactly.
I pray for a breakthrough in medical research. I just wanted someone to help me to share some tenderness. Tenderness.
I wanted someone to help me shell this. Never mind.
No, you can't make me stop the song and then not say the thing you were gonna say.
Just trying to get someone to help me shed all this extra sperm out of my balls, man. Somebody help me. I don't know.
Okay, I regret forcing you to finish that joke.
See, see, I do have a filter, okay? Like that. No, but I got a question for you guys. This makes me think. We are in a we're in a movement right now. There's a big movement, and it's being pro sex workers. These people out there doing the best they can and finding a way to make money and providing a service that people are asking for, and they get shamed a bit, and when they're mistreated and get fucked around with by people that are abusing them, it's like it becomes a real serious issue, and then they got the cops that will arrest them if they're doing it. But then I wonder, does that mean, why the song might change? I don't know what's going on with this guy, but you got the sex workers, and then you got the people that are asking for the service. Because they're
The
getting
Johns,
arrested.
if you will.
The Johns of the, well, hey, listen, I know there's some Janes out there too who enjoy a little SW action.
That's
so, like,
that's very equanimous of you, Michael.
Yeah. So this guy's getting arrested and he's also getting shamed, and that is this also providing to the toxic nature of this guy may be, he's takes care of the ladies that be taking care of him. So are we feeling for this man? I mean, we are, but
Will we continue after you continue the song, though, Steve?
I have this need that burns inside. It has no shame and it has no pride. I wish my wife, I wish she could understand, but she won't even lend me a helping hand. So what if I lost?
Oh man, poor guy can't even get a job, and those can be really hit or miss.
I mean, it seems like that's the wrong phrase to use to describe that. I feel like even if it's hit, that's probably not very comfortable.
Oh my God! Oh, watch your fist on my balls there, please, Jesus.
And and Mike, who's to say that lend a helping hand refers to that particular sexual act?
Oh, well, listen, Steve. I mean, I'm not gonna be too proud to say I haven't had a finger or two venture into the nether region of the behind there.
I love how Mike is giving us way more information than this song. If he listened to the rest of it,
Mike,
would actually talk him into saying.
From here on out, nether region of the behind is the only way you can say ass.
I call mine the nether realm. Mike, before you say anything more incriminating, let me just play a little bit more of the song. Sorry, Nick, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, that sounded suspiciously close to kink shaming right there, Steve. For you saying that about Mike, that makes me question what's up your ass.
Tune in to Dabber Delver Productions' newest podcast, What's Up Your Ass, an interview show with
where we review sex toys.
Where we review sex toys. Figure out how they work.
Anything's a sex toy if you're brave enough. That's all I'm saying.
For a leather strap. What if I like stiletto heels running up and down my back? Or some large lady with a heart of gold to tie me up and make me do just exactly what I'm told. I need to be punished. I need to be hurt. I need to be crushed like a bug in the dirt. To be chained like a poodle, spanked with a shoe. To be brought to my knees by somebody who's sweet just like you.
Fuck yeah! If this would be the Act 1 show-stopping number if this were on Broadway. Was this guy just an extra? Like, does this guy? Holy shit! He's doing the best song.
I wanted to bring this up. A big problem a lot of people had with the show in question was the fact that they often gave most of the songs to like the guest star or the co-star in the episode, like the actual main cast. Like maybe one of them would get a song every episode, but it was like a big cast. So it was like one cast member gets a song and then all the co-stars and guest stars sing like these types of numbers. And people thought like, well, gosh, like why give all of your best numbers to the people that are only there for like a scene? Which
if they can all run away with it as much as this guy can, then I think that was a wise decision. I don't know if this is so much kink shaming, so much as a sympathetic character trying to destigmatize this loudly in an entire precinct full of cops.
Well, everybody in the precinct is stopping to watch him sing.
Oh,
so
yes,
breaking
everyone
the
stops
fourth
and
wall.
watches.
It's breaking the fourth wall completely. This guy is singing, and everyone knows he's singing. It's not like he's singing in an aside to himself. Everyone knows it, except for the undercover policewoman who he's singing it to, who was the one who arrested him. She's ignoring the shit out of him.
Oh, that's just what he likes too.
That's what it sounds like.
I'm gonna sing a heartfelt, could be on Broadway number, pouring my heart and all my kinks out for the world and for Precinct to hear, for all these strangers talking about just how wonderful you are. And yeah, don't look at me. Don't look at me, dude. But I'm with you, Nick. I think the destigmatization that he's or whatever is trying to do there. But and the cops, do you think they're feeling for him, or like, sorry, buddy,
or
that's just the way the law is?
Do you think in the
Go
early
to the
90s,
voting booth if you don't like it? Is that? Oh, sorry, you're a felon now. I guess you're not going to be able to vote.
It's America for you, folks. Do you think in the early 90s this was supposed to be the audience was supposed to react more like, wow, he's sure a weird character that we should be giving our derision towards? Or was this supposed to be heartfelt? I don't know. This is where I need like a cultural anthropologist.
I mean, I feel like
I wasn't born when this came
Central... out. Oh, thanks, Nick. Thanks for making me feel old again. I think the tell is they went to central casting and found a guy who singing this, like they found a guy who, if you gave the song to a different sort of person with a different appearance, they might, or singing style, like if you go back and watch how this guy is actually performing it, you might have been able to read into it that it's supposed to be like some sort of weird social commentary. But no, the guy they got screams, "This guy's a weirdo. Shame him."
It's because of this. When his face, he gets the big frown face, and his face does get all like fucking weird.
Yeah, it's really. It's
I
basically.
just want love. Somebody love me. I love you.
That's an image that's going to haunt me until the day I die. Yeah, he's really giving off Jennifer Hudson from Dreamgirls vibes. Like that's the kind of impassioned performance.
Yeah, it's like, and you, I want you to fuck me.
Essentially.
So for our final number,
was there anything else that we missed, or was that?
No, I think that'll be good right. for that song. That the rest of that song is the literal definition of "and it goes on like this."
I just didn't know if you. I didn't know if every tab was hit, but if you didn't want to,
I skipped ahead a few.
All right, cool.
I didn't want this to be 2 hours long, so because I wanted to get to these last two, so I definitely wanted to get this one. So,
the title of this.
There's a plot line.
There's
a plot line that goes through the first several episodes, and this is if you watch John Oliver, you already know what we're going to talk about. This is a plot line that went through the first several episodes of this show. There was a desperate single mother who was a drug addict. She was in the aforementioned crack house at the first episode, and she was in the house with the baby, and she's a drug addict. Her name's Patty. In episode 1, she sells the baby for drug money, and she has a musical number singing about how she's going to sell her baby, which I didn't pick for this episode. Maybe we'll do a sequel. I don't know, but one subject that we have not musically touched upon yet. We got prostitution, we got kinks, we got racial profiling, but you know what really hits the spot when you put it to song? Child trafficking.
When you're shopping for a dream come true, a little package in a pink or blue. All depends on who you're talking to. Don't you worry about a thing, 'cause you know I got the goods for you.
goods being children.
Yes, the goods being children.
This. It's always gonna be the rich white people buying kids.
I'm glad you brought that up, Mike. The two characters that we're looking at here are actually the police officers I mentioned before who fall in love. They're doing a sting here. Officers Quinn and Campo. The the gentleman who's singing the song goes by the name of Glenn, or he has a different title, which you'll hear in a second. He runs a black market for wealthy childless couples because, I guess when you're a wealthy childless couple, the thing that's really hard to do is find a child that you have to go to the black market. It's not like there's orphanages or
adoption, or any other option.
Not these
full of completely legal children to have. No, you got to go to the black market for that shit.
Yeah, there is, because
the song's kind of bouncy though.
There is a very dark undertone for that though, because like you're saying, Steve, there's no reason why these people couldn't go to an orphanage or
if we want children, but no paperwork.
Yeah. I'm gonna need about 5 more kids. I know. Just like
straight like business sense, like not even the morality of it, from like the business. What do you call that? The thing that your business, like the reason
business
why
model?
you have a business. Yeah, your business model. The business model is not workable. This business model is not workable. Like, I'm going to find children and sell it to rich people who don't want to use any of the other available methods of acquiring said children. Like, his profit margins have to be very thin.
Maybe he has a great return policy.
And see, that's the biggest problem with putting this shit to music, is that it makes it so much easier to joke about child trafficking.
This kid's a little asshole. Can I get a different one? They don't let me do that at the orphanage. I'm rich enough to be able to.
No returns, only exchanges. Sorry.
But this is the song that has, as Nick mentioned earlier, this is the earworm that I have caught myself singing out loud. Thankfully, I don't.
Oh my God, Steve!
I had a truck drive by.
Oh, this is the one that gets stuck in your head.
This is the one that gets stuck. That's gotten stuck in my head. Thankfully, I've been inside for most of the time. It's been stuck in my head, so it's not like I can offend or horrify anyone other than my wife. But this is why it's stuck in my head.
Yeah. The city gives you such a run around. Those mental pushes only put you down. And lawyers ain't the only game in town. That's a migraine and a hat I won't put you through. I'm the baby merchant. Tots are us. I give you all the service and no damn fuss. Give the baby merchant just a week or two. I'll have your baby for you.
Oh my God.
I'm the baby merchant. The song is awful. Sing it out loud at work without context.
Oh, but it's catchy. Fuck.
Yo.
And what a title to give yourself. I feel like you show up in like an RPG with like a giant trench coat and you open it up.
Yeah, it's some sort of
yes, I'll buy it for a high price.
I'll tell you.
It's a weird Shakespearean, like the Merchant of Babies. It's a weird Shakespearean riff.
This is the kind of merchant that only accepts cryptocurrency, I think.
Yes, if they remade this, there'd be a new lyric added, Dogecoin only.
I'm the baby merchant. Tots are us. It's so sad that went out of business last year.
Oh.
I'm sorry, that was Babies Are Us.
Babies Are Us, yeah.
See, yeah, he couldn't be the Tots merchant. Babies Are Us, because then Babies Are Us probably would have sued.
Yeah, that was his big problem. That was the conundrum he faced early in his career.
Yes, LLCs are a bitch, especially when you're getting into the baby merchant industry.
I think this guy had a real problem with how medical technology has taken off, and people can start kind of making the babies any way they want. And he's like, man, I have to keep stealing these kids, and how hard it is to find a kid with blue eyes and red hair. I mean, that's
what all these rich parents want for some reason. Also, if this were contemporary,
like I said. No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, if this were contemporary, I can just imagine his LinkedIn profile where it says "baby merchant" and then the description are just the lyrics to this song. You got a network.
But the profit margins, I can't get the profit margins, Nick.
What are you talking about? Step 1, find a baby. Step 2, steal it. Step 3, profit. It's pretty straightforward.
But here's the thing. Here's the context of the episode, right? So when the drug addict mother sells the child, she sells it for like $200, right? And he's selling it to this couple. He's selling it to this couple for $11,000, and this is 1990s money.
Yeah.
$11,000. So, how many drug-addicted parents are you finding to buy the child for such a pittance so that you can then jack up the price 500% at 10 grand or above?
What he's doing is actually a perfect metaphor for pharmaceutical companies as well. But that being said, I think you're supposed to assume, and once again, I'm not the most well-versed on LA in the 90s, that there was so much rampant drug use that there were just countless people willing to sell their babies for a pittance, as you said, that then the baby merchant can take advantage of.
Guys, so this is a really fucked up topic, right? But
but let's lean into it.
But like, I am imagining a scenario where it doesn't take the darkest turn available, and it's sad and it's fucked up. But
yeah.
But let's but on a bright, weird. I imagine. Okay, let's assume one of these kids gets sold to some rich parents, right? And but they grow up and things go well, and they're talking about their story, and they go, you know what? My parents paid $500,000 for me because I got a lot of worth, I guess. I feel pretty good about that. How much did your parents pay for you? Oh, they made you the old-fashioned way. Well,
my parents had sex.
It looks like you have my kind of net worth, buddy. Like, just like a really, really what's the word when you feel like
privileged,
but you have that complex of being
entitled.
Entitlement, yes, this entitled drug baby that got bought for $500,000. Who's like, hey, you guys are below me.
I like how in your scenario, Mike, the operative word for the child conceived normally is free as opposed to priceless. Like, I feel like the parents of that child would probably not actually be able to put a price on the child because the child should theoretically not have any price to begin with because it's a human child.
But just state once again, this is
Steve, you're never going to be a baby merchant with that attitude.
Well, maybe the baby merchant here can give me some pro tips. Hold on.
Supply at hand, deliver anything that you demand. A piece of heaven for 11 grand. That's a small price to pay for a toddler today. It ain't a question.
I mean, he's not wrong. $11,000 for a human life.
And that's a great turnaround time. You give him a week. That's
two. He said a week or two.
A week or two.
He gives himself some buffer time.
Yeah, sometimes supply lines can be, like in our country today. Real infrastructure problems we got to deal with for the baby merchant to start making a profit again.
I will say, judging just the song itself, song's a straight up banger. However, I will say they really skimped on the choreography. They're just kind of outdoors, and he's shimming in place and pacing around.
This is 3 minutes. This is 3 minutes of 3 people standing in roughly the same positions. 2 of them say nothing. The other one sings about selling children. And none of that, like the other 2 just imagine as an acting exercise, like, okay, this person is going to sing at you for 3 minutes and all you do is react to it. You don't have a part to play, but you're on camera the whole time. So like the 2 cops are like, oh gosh,
Consternation,
making-
consternation.
Yes, basically, like I don't know about this kind of faces for 3 whole minutes while he sings about baby selling.
Wow. And 11 episodes only, you said?
I'll only have only 11 episodes, and this is like episode 4.
You know, the baby merchant, you just know every time before he has to go meet a client with his big sale, he's in the shower and he's practicing his big song. He's like, okay, I got my 3-minute window here. I really need to close the deal this time. The last couple they didn't like the chorus I was doing. I knew I was feeling under the weather.
He keeps like testing other ones. I'm the child seller. No, I'm the infant retailer. No, I'm the baby merchant. Yeah, that's it.
That's it. That goes well. That goes off the tongue good. Yeah.
I'm the kiddo market. No, that doesn't work.
This was also the script writer's process as well, ironically enough.
He's just checking himself in the mirror, like Mike said. It's like, do I have my blue members only jacket? I do. All right, good to go. That's a key marketing technique. Got to look sharp with my blue members only jacket.
Listeners, if you want to just like add a little spice to your life, make this song your ringtone and go out in public and invite your friends to call you.
Of morality, I'm not concerned with any trumped up illegality. We're just one big happy family. It's a pleasure doing business the American way. I'm the baby merchant. Tots are us. I give you all the service and no damn fuss. Give the baby merchant just a week or 2.
You know what?
I'll have your baby for you.
You know what I love about this guy? He knows his market. He's like, all right, got to put up that patriotism in. Like,
yeah,
I was a little on the fence with this whole baby merchant, buying from the baby merchant, but he respects the flag.
He respects those. I'll bet he doesn't kneel. He respects those stars and stripes. And you know what? Selling kids is kind of like the clearest distillation of American capitalism. So, honey, I think we gotta give this a shot.
We gotta support this small business owner. I mean,
this is a man who believes in himself and his mission fully. And his mission is the selling of children.
He's talking about pulling yourself up by the baby straps here. This is...
Nobody says that. We can't talk about it because nobody said that in the history of mankind. I think the baby merchant has just one more piece of advice for it.
One more piece. Let's hear what he's got to say.
You can always trust advice from a baby merchant.
Picture yourself in your house with a new son or daughter. No one at all has to know that the parents who brought her up bought her from the baby merchant. Tots are us. I give you all the service and no damn fuss. You give the baby merchant just a week or 2. I'll have your baby for you.
Okay, when the world opens up, can we try to find a karaoke track of this?
It's gonna be hard.
Yeah.
All right, now just this side of the room. I'm the baby merchant. You hold the mic up. I can't hear you.
This actor is he's so good. I really wish he like showed up again somewhere. I don't know I've ever seen him again, but he's so distinctive.
No. Yeah, Bill Maher's cousin doesn't show up in any other episode.
No, he doesn't. Oh. But he's just like, he's grooving out. He's so into the song. He's into himself. He's into what he's doing.
I gotta say,
it's so terrible.
I almost forget he's talking about human trafficking.
Yeah, how it is impressive for an actor to find anything to ground themselves in this utterly ludicrous scenario where you are singing in public about being a baby merchant, but he he found something. He's selling this performance against all odds.
These guest stars all deserve Emmys, man. At least the ones we've been seeing. They are knocking it out of the park with their singing performances.
But they gave this one guy a 3.5-minute song about being the baby merchant. This song didn't need to be a full-length musical number. It could have been half the length of this and still gotten the point across, but they devoted one of the 4 songs they had space for, and 2 of the 3 of the other songs in the episode are not full songs. They're like little song snippets where it's like a single verse and maybe a chorus. This is the one they gave a full 3 chorus and a bridge to.
Steve, I disagree. I mean, I think you're right in that it didn't need to be 3 minutes. I think it should have been the full length of the episode. I would have been fine if it was more like an opera where for like 40 continuous minutes, he's just singing different scenarios, different specificities of what he can get for you. And every single minute or 2 throughout that 40 minutes, he goes back to the chorus. I want to hear this chorus 30 times.
Merchant.
Baby merchant, dude. Steve, I understand. It is a little earworm. It does get in there, and you're just baby merchant.
Baby merchant, do 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 do. Baby merchant,
okay,
do 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 do.
Doesn't fit the meter. It's not a groove. You've ruined it. Now that you've ruined it, we can end the episode. That's the end of the episode. We've discussed Cop Rock.
Steve, before we go, you alluded to the fact that this might have won an Emmy. Or was that a load of hooey?
Hold on. Cut this part out because I don't remember if I wrote this down. Hold on.
Okay.
Yes. So Cop Rock's theme song, Under the Gun, written and performed by Randy Newman, earned him a 1991 Emmy Award.
He won the Emmy for the theme?
He won an Emmy Award for the theme song, Under the Gun.
Oh my God.
Which had nothing to do with.
Maybe that's why it won.
It's just a song. It's a
Oh my God.
with the word gun in it.
Sorry, as our listeners know, I just reviewed the Emmys, or excuse me, the Grammys, and I was just wondering, oh my God, what if in some award show they ended up doing like a live performance of Baby Merchant?
I mean, the only time you'd see that is during the Tony Awards, and then we'd have to do a whole other translation of this material.
I mean, I think this would translate pretty seamlessly to the stage. No. I can't. I don't want to cut more stuff, so I can't say what I was gonna say.
But that's Cop Rock.
I want to hear it.
There's so much more to Cop Rock than just what I brought today, but we want to keep it not 3 hours long. But maybe if there's enough interest, one day we'll return to the land of Cop Rock.
Yeah, when it comes to the timing, Steve is really holding Mike and I under the gun. Wait, sorry, Mike, what were you gonna say?
I don't know. Steve, love that you brought this to our attention. I want to buy this and watch the whole series now.
You feel free, Mike. You feel free to watch this whole fucking show.
Oh man.
Seriously, I'm not unironically, if they release this on vinyl, I would buy it in a heartbeat. But I'd have to buy 2 copies of it because I would wear out the first one from replaying Baby Merchant over and over again.
Baby Merchant.
But Steve, thank you so much for the extensive research, for bringing so much of this show to us. I was telling Steve before the recording, I had seen the show appear as a, I think like on a Watch Mojo list or something, and then obviously John Oliver spoke about it 2 or 3 weeks ago at the time of this recording. But thank you for bringing so much more context to it, because this is fantastic. This is the kind of rare mistake that doesn't happen often where people are genuinely trying to do something and are so misguided. The last time it happened, I felt like was when I saw Cats. It was just, like I was so happy it existed. Like I want there to be weird mistakes like this. They're enjoyable to me on a true level, not on a snarky level. I get true enjoyment.
Well, this is what happens when you're creatively invincible for a significant period of time. You just feel like you can get away with all sorts of stuff. And like I said, Stephen Bochco, the guy who created this, he had a 10 series deal with ABC. This was one of 10. If you get the opportunity to do 10 different TV shows, you can throw as much weird shit at the wall that you want.
That's actually true. That's a good place to be, where you can be powerful enough to try cop rock.
Let's try it and see what happens. Oh.
And most of the cast members, if you ask them about it today, speak glowingly about it. They loved doing it.
Oh, this had to have been so fun to do.
Oh, yeah. I like it.
We talked about some issues. We
got
in trouble.
Well, issue some apologies.
I'm trying to so Steve, I will say this has got me in the cop rock mindset now. Mike, what do you think the musical number would have been for when you were jumping the turnstile in a New York City subway station? You don't have to come up with lyrics on the spot, but I'm just trying to imagine. Would it be like a pop song? Would it be a rap break? What do you think that you'd be?
Oh, I think it'd be very similar to like that tenderness kind of that kind of vibe. You know,
Is it so wrong to jump a turnstile?
What? You know, so, like I know I'd be pleading my case to them. Real sob story about my swipers not swiping. You know,
swiper no swiping. Swiper no swiping, officer.
Okay, that makes it sound like it would be a reggae song. Mike, please don't attempt reggae.
I was about.
Warning, warning, warning. Do not attempt reggae. Do not attempt reggae.
Oh.
I wish someone had told Steven Seagal that.
Well, thank you again, Steve, for bringing this to our attention. And thank you, listeners, for joining us this week. You can find us on social media. You know the places. Seriously, just look up the Songtopsy Report. We're the only one on Twitter. We're the only one on Instagram. We're the only one on Facebook. We're the only one on Google. So check us out there. Follow me on my personal accounts on Twitter and Instagram. Just look for Nick Brigadier. And Mike, where can we find you?
You can find me on my Instagram at MrMikeRussell.com. That's MrAmar.dot. And like Nick said, check out our stuff. Leave a review. I don't have a review in a while, or just send us a nice note and read about it. We'll read it on the air. Why not? We like getting emails. We like hearing from y'all. We love getting your listener submitted suggestions.
Yes, thank you.
And Nick, what was that? You had a good poll at the beginning there. I liked what you said. Do you remember what you
How would you get help? Would you yell fire? Was that what?
Yes, that was it. What would you yell to get the attention of someone when you need help?
Yes.
I'm under the gun. I'm under the gun.
Someone save Randy.
I'm under the gun.
And Steve, where can we find you? Also, Steve, before you say, I already know what you're going to sign off with, and I'm okay with it. But where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram. I hate being so predictable. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at YourManTrollo. On my personal website, StephenTrollinger.com, on the Dapper Devil Productions website, and on the small screen and big screen. If you take the commercial I did for Nathan's and put it on like a movie theater screen, like if you have that power, do it, but otherwise small screen.
Airplay that shit. Yeah, Steve, you are on as many size screens as our listeners have available TVs for.
Oh my God.
Yes, please check it out and watch Steve shove 73 hot dogs into his mouth.
Yeah. It's incredible.
In the middle of a pandemic, I volunteered to have somebody without gloves on hand me food to then eat on camera. Because I am dedicated to my craft.
Steve, you would have had no
Yes, Andy
trouble
Cohen's
saying
hands
about
were
being
clean,
a baby merchant. You would have.
Not to disparage Andy Cohen, his hands were perfectly clean.
Yes, he might hire you again, Steve.
Hot dog eater, he eats the dogs.
Bum, bum, bum. All right. I can't wait till this imminent sign off, because until next week, listeners, I'm Nick Gradier.
I'm Mike Russell.
And thankfully, I'm not.
I'm the baby merchant. Tots are us. I give you all the service and no damn fuss. Give the baby merchant just a week or two.
And we'll see you next week. Take care.
I'll have your baby for you. Ooh.
Oh, I love that. Get rid of that stupid hot dog thing. I said, man, I didn't realize. See, Nick, I didn't know where you're going. So that's like I wasn't
All right,
looking. I wasn't looking.
Oh. Now I'll end recording.